Hydration breaks are Trojan horses for ads. 80s chic Robocop refs. And DePaul is to Messi what Julius is to Beyonce. There you go. I think that's what went on in the World Cup. I was watching, but what was happening outside the pitch was just so captivating. ¡Viva México, cabrones! ¡A huevo! People were calling it the international sleepover.
Big Mama kommer ut. Det stod Big Mama på den.
Where your food going at? Let me see.
Here.
You hiding all that? Hercules.
The convergence of all these cultures brought a spotlight on the numerous cultural exchanges that graced our feeds. But I noticed there was something different about the discourse on the World Cup this time around that I want to tell you about. But first, you want to hear a brand new sentence?
Erling Haaland is known to love to eat children in China and is currently one of the most popular football or soccer players in China. But the nickname given to Haaland in China is 爱吃小孩的魔人布偶, or Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z, who loves to eat children.
And that's why I pay for internet. After 4 years of anticipation, the first game of the World Cup was South Africa versus Mexico. It was green and yellow at the opening tip. Urethra. Your urethra is infected, is what my urologist said. He told me to stop ordering my fancy pills from Cher Nobel. He said that's why it burns when I cough. I told him he was overreacting. I'm getting sidetracked. The first match was an absolute stinker. Aromas of doo-doo. One of the worst matches I've ever seen. It was so bad, halfway I protested the match. I had to strike a match, like when you swipe on apps. But that didn't matter, because the spotlight was on, and the stage had been set. The only stage with over 1 billion in attendance watching at home. The stage on which the biggest cultural exchange occurs. A stage where developing countries play against the reason why. Hi, I'm Mangochi, and to the Mango Muster I welcome you to a video that no one asked for, where I... Wait a minute, Oh yeah, I got that Tinder match from earlier. It's Wallace, from Wallace and Gromit. I wonder how that's gonna be relevant to the story later. How about a little dance break? How about we have a handshake? I'll provide the nicest of vibes, but all you gotta do is just like and subscribe. The group stage was full of excitement. On the pitch, those baguette-yielding freaks had a stacked squad. Messi reinforced he is the GOAT, and Cape Verde stunned the world with a 0-0 draw against Spain. Off the pitch, visitors were discovering the US for the first time.
But what is this? Costco.
What is this?
Buzzball.
Buzzball. Okay, I'm gonna try it.
The Aussies discovered Walmart. The Scots found that famous slide in Boston. An Englishman found a beer.
I love this beer in this country, by the way. It's really good.
You like the beer in this country? All right.
Hospitality has been amazing as well.
That US customer service and hospitality is something special. It comes as no surprise to Americans to hear someone go above and beyond, but to a foreigner, none the wiser, it can move them to poetry, like it did this Twitter user whose tweet has been viewed 17.2 million times. I'll read an excerpt. Here, the gift arrives before you have even proven you can pay for dinner. This is not an appetizer. This is a declaration. We trust you. Eat. Their tweet was so viral, there was a trend of people reciting it. I'll let Paulina take it from the top.
USA, a Mexican restaurant. We had not yet ordered anything, and the food was already arriving. Chips, salsa, unrequested, free. I stopped the waiter. We have not yet earned these.
Just beautiful. Sarah, take us home.
I had been defeated by a courtesy, generosity that arrives before the request cannot be repaid.
I wonder what the Scots are doing. My favorite part of the World Cup was the cultures mixing. I love how the people of Lawrence, Kansas learned who they were hosting and were like, okay, we rep Algeria then. And Algerians visiting, as well as those in the diaspora, were like, oh, we rock with Lawrence.
I'm Caitlin.
Caitlin, ما كاش بقيتي كايتلين راكي كاهنة. Your new name is Kahina. Tu t'appelles Kahina العزيزة الحبيبة.
Living in the US, I was mostly served content made here, but I was so glad when the algorithms understood that I want every single video imaginable from Mexico as well. If you haven't been coerced into yelling Viva Mexico by Mexicans, then have you even lived? I'm very partial to Mexico. The country has a special place in my heart. I really like their flavor of patriotism. Even when Mexico lost in Estadio Azteca to England, they went above and beyond to reinforce hospitality and to congratulate their opponents. I have this what I call secondhand patriotism with Mexico for many reasons, but mainly because of this. Domain expansion quiere volar. Quiere Volar allows for its users to peer pressure an individual to soar higher than they've ever been. It does not discriminate. Man, women, big, old, and even young. All this Mexico and US talk. What's going on in Canada? Okay, that's enough, Canada, that's enough. Please don't do that again. Let's see what the Scots are doing. Much better. On the knockout stages, things were looking up for African teams. But as they slowly stared deeper into the heavens, they were met with their own undoing. Late game goals. It just kept happening. I tried warning them, but they wouldn't listen. No one ever listens. Oh, look, Wallace texted. At this point in the tournament, people felt strongly against the refereeing, some even making threats. FIFA had to make statements backing their refs, making it the first instance of a corporation backing a whistleblower. The refs were letting tackles go. They were almost as lenient as TV channels were with the ads they were showing. AI ad, pharmaceutical ad, gambling ad. If the contents of our ads are a forecast, then prepare for a shitstorm. The Republic is self-devouring, but the right Claude prompt could save us. And Sir David Beckham, 7 f***ing ads. For the love of God, who do you owe money to? In the round of 32, Cape Verde versus Argentina was the match of the tournament, tied with the round of 16 England versus Mexico game, in my opinion. Belgium knocked the US out and did the Trump dance in our own backyard. This came right after the White House called FIFA to overturn Balogun's red card. And let me lay that out for you guys. That's US intervention in international affairs in the United States for Team USA. That's a little too on the nose. But this was a reminder that along with the smiles, the spotlight on the World Cup also reveals another side. I got a question for you. Were you shamed for supporting a Western European country? Did your friends get on a high horse with who they support? Did I ever get on a high horse? No, but that's because I'm better than you niggas. This World Cup, more than any I have been a part of, had political and historical factors heavily influencing how people consumed it. Some of it was posturing, don't get it twisted, but even the root of the posturing was valid. I found myself enjoying this trend, because it forces us to deal with the totality of what it means to have a 48-country tournament. Pointing out some of our ugly past and presents is useful. I want to get into this a bit more, but first, I want to share this horrible, inaccurate take from this creator.
Men have been socialized to process their emotions through sport, so it often feels like football is the only place that men can safely express their masculinity.
Because it's simply not true. Completely absurd. Okay, maybe she's got a point. But why would I acknowledge all the times I didn't allow myself to feel when I can just yell at a 22-year-old? Now, sometimes celebrations are just that, pure joy. But I can't help but think that there's some overcompensation for suppressed emotions that sneaks in there. I'm not exempt from this either. I encourage all men to celebrate your teams. Tear up when your teams lose, but also celebrate your own wins and cry when life is hard. If the only time you've cried in the last year is during a sporting event, then it's time to reflect, buddy. Come on, let's heal together. Because the effects of not acknowledging feelings or societal pressures can lead to your own undoing, or even worse, someone else's undoing because of your negligence. Like the insane and unfortunate case of domestic violence on women and children, which increases significantly during sporting events like the World Cup. A harmful byproduct of us men spending a lifetime pushing down expressions of grief and joy. In the spotlight, we see the passion in the stands. But also in the spotlight are the shadows of a silent abuse happening in so many homes. And there are more shadows I'll point out in a bit. But one last point since we're on the topic of masculinity. How is everyone in the World Cup hetero? 100% of them? In the history of football, I have heard of like 3 gay players. No one likes to suck? Not even sometimes? It's just women's football that has all the gay players? I'm hetero, but I'm not afraid to say it. Ever since Wallace and I matched, sometimes I think about Wallace in ways that makes me confused. One day I feel one way and the next day I feel different. Like today I feel...
Today I feel gay.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's tough feeling this way.
I know what it means to be discriminated.
Oh, you too? For what?
As a child, at school, I was bullied because I had red hair.
Oh, you were bullied for having red hair. Is that the same as being a migrant worker and gay? Hooked on the constant injection of World Cup games, I suffered withdrawals when there were days 0 games were being played. The days were long, to put it mildly. I picked up a bad habit. I didn't know what to do with myself. I lost myself a bit there. I mean, it was really hard. Foreplay is a requirement for Wallace, as well as a condensed description of a semi-final. France played Spain and England played Argentina. I hadn't seen an English semi since Wallace sent me that pic. That's my little Wally bear.
Me and Wallace picking trees from our basement, arranging them from new whiz to ancient. Wallace and Infantino, they got similar phases. I think I'm hitting rock bottom like I'm beefing with pavements.
That doesn't even make sense.
Despite all the heartwarming cultural exchanges, as I've been hinting to, there are shadows of the World Cup. The US still has restrictions on 39 countries, but hosted a World Cup. Haitian and Iranian fans were not allowed to visit the US, yet the marketing for the World Cup preached unity. Unequivocally, the team with the biggest disadvantage this World Cup was Iran. The team's hotel was in Mexico, but when they had games in the US, they drove to and from the stadium the same day. Their team's logistics people weren't granted visas. Not to mention we attacked their home country last year, unprovoked. We have to engage with the ugly reality that the look of Western European teams is a consequence of colonization. We have to engage with the reality of Quiñones being celebrated for scoring this World Cup, but has been a victim of racism by Mexican fans in the past. The spotlight captured everyone celebrating around the world, but when you look at the Gaza footage, they're celebrating in the rubble. Why is that? I bring up these things, and I brought up masculinity earlier, and there's a lot more I could bring up, but I bring them up for two reasons. One, to point out that in the spotlight are also stories of those harmed by what goes on in the shadows. We must acknowledge the shadows. There's power and reckoning with the shadows. And two, to inspire a practice of cultural exchange that involves taking in the good and the bad. In the process, you learn about your personal and cultural blind spots, and you can point out the blind spots of others. Everyone is transformed and better for it. I can't stress how valuable a cultural exchange can be when it's all-inclusive, respectful, and compassionate. Around came the Argentina versus Spain final, and throughout this tournament, Argentina would go from above mediocre to the best team when their backs were up against the wall. But that wasn't enough against Spain. Spain's understated dominance carried them to a second World Cup trophy. And I'm happy to report that thanks to the power of love and the contents of this video, we've reached world peace. It would be nice if a freeze frame and some 80s music fixed everything, but that's not real. Between you and me, I had a paragraph after this freeze frame bit where I tie a cute little bow around all of this, but it didn't feel honest. So I'm just gonna leave you with whatever this feeling is. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you really want to support, join my Patreon. I care for you all, and I know I was tough on the Canadians earlier, but I care about you guys too. Even the Quebecois. You know what, Canada? Let's hear that row again. I lied, and I told you guys not to do it again. Norway, take it away.
Building out. Building out. Building out.
Angoshi.